Hi EOU Facebook fans, Dr. P here. I just wanted to do a quick short video on an update on the Aquamarine Frankincense because unfortunately there's been a person out there who has been saying that the Aquamarine Frankincense has a toxic component in it known as copper sulfate. And so I just wanted to debunk that possibility with just some simple chemical principles. And hopefully this will be the end of it and we can move on. I wish I didn't have to do this, but people are, becoming afraid of using it because they think it has something toxic in it. So I'm going to do a little demonstration. And let me switch the camera around here. Okay, so this is what the Aquamarine Frankincense looks like when you distill it in copper, okay? And this is basically the methoxydecane type of frankincense oil. We believe it's a possibility of Carterii, although that has not really truly been verified. Anyway, the result, the color, is a result of a small amount of copper ions that are either complexed with water or possibly complexed with a combination of water and or maybe just the methoxydecane itself. The lone pair on the oxygen could be participating in this complex. These things are hard to pin down, but this is the color you get when you distill the resin, this particular rare type of resin, in copper. If you do the same resin in stainless steel, this is what the oil looks like. Normal color for a frankincense oil. Now, the claim was made that the way that you get this color is because of copper sulfate, and according to this person, which I'm not going to name because I don't want to give any more fame to this person, but the copper, he claimed that the color was due to copper sulfate. And I just wanted to show people that, for one, the color is not even close to what copper sulfate looks like. This is copper sulfate. This is some copper sulfate that you can purchase from any chemical supply company. So get a close-up here of it so you can see it kind of looks like sugar that's been dyed blue. And so I just poured a little bit of copper sulfate in a bottle, and now I'm going to add the frankincense oil that comes from the stainless steel distilled apparatus, and I'm just going to add this to the copper sulfate. As copper sulfate is water soluble and not oil soluble, just as I already knew, it doesn't dissolve in the oil at all, okay? You can swirl it around, mix it up really good, and you can see that the copper sulfate just stays at the bottom and will not dissolve in the oil. Now, let's say you might argue that, well, maybe, over time, a little bit of the copper sulfate will get into the oil. So I did the same thing to a sample. This is one I did a week ago, and you can see that again the copper sulfate is sitting at the bottom. And you might think, oh, well, it looks like it might have a blue tint. Well, no, not really, because if you just simply pour off the oil because it's just giving a cast to it because of the color of the solid at the bottom. But if you actually dump the oil into another bottle, you'll see that there's absolutely no color to this oil. It's the same oil that we get from stainless steel. It's not been changed at all, even after 1 week in sitting on the copper sulfate. So the copper sulfate is not soluble in the oil. The color is not even indicative of copper sulfate. And the color itself, despite the claim that this individual made, that the copper was obviously a color resulting from a complex of the chromophore with sulfate, the color of copper sulfate is not actually due to a complex with the sulfate. It's actually due to the copper complexing with water molecules. So there's so many things wrong that I can't really go into all the chemical detail in this short video, but I just wanted to show people that, you know, you cannot create this color by copper sulfate being added. And yes, it's true, there are a small amount of copper ions in the Aquamarine frankincense that result from the distillation in copper, as happens frequently in distillations that you do with copper. But I just wanted to, you know, put an end to this nonsense that there's copper sulfate in the oil. I hope this helps you, and if you have any questions, hit me up on Facebook. Thanks.